just to say a little bit about this launch. I'm actually doing 2 events, this one now for a primarily European group, and then another one tomorrow for a primarily American group. I am actually going to take a different approach in each of them, so that there are different angles, if you like, different focus in each of them, so they kind of complement each other. So anyone who has nothing to do this weekend, or a long drive or something, if you want to listen to the other one, we'll share the recordings of both, because they won't be a repeat of each other. Okay, so today in this event, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this book came about. I'm going to read a section of it. I'm going to say a little bit more and invite a few people to say something, and then we can have a discussion together. It's very informal. If you have questions, or we just want to talk about the topic, which is really all about freedom and the journey that we make as human beings, when we really want to experience that sense of knowing and being ourselves in our essence, and being able to do that out in the world, not just in a private space on my own in meditation, but actually go out, work with people, make decisions, make good and bad decisions, make mistakes as well as successful endeavors. If we want to find that self, that inner freedom in all of those very human life circumstances, that's really what I'm talking about in this book. And I didn't actually intend to write a book. I didn't sit down and say, I need to write a book. And it's called Wrestling with Freedom. What actually happened was that I started writing. And some of you who've been around for a while may remember that about a year into COVID, I wrote something called Enough is Enough, which is what I shared for those of you who signed up here. It's the first real chapter of the book. And it was something that I wrote, it just poured out of me. I was so frustrated with all of the different opinions in the world about everything. And I realized that we needed to go to a different level. There was nothing that we could do by trying to solve the polarization and the dissonance between people by tackling the polarization and the dissonance between people. And so I guess I started to write as a search for a different approach. And what I found is that as I was writing, I was kind of working through all of this stuff that was going on in the world, including my own responses to it. And I started to find 2 things. One is I found a way towards inner peace rather than being in the middle of all these things that were going on around all of us. There was just so much tension and so much stress at that time. So I found my own peace with it. But what I also found is that as I was writing, I wasn't really writing about myself, or I was writing about myself in the way that I was also writing about all of us. And it touched into a voice, I suppose, that I found inside myself, that whenever I wrote from there, which is from a very deep place inside me, it's not channeled from somewhere outside, like my Love Money book. It feels like it's almost channeled from the inside of me. Every time I wrote like that, I felt like I was touching all of us, or touching the collective. And therefore, sometimes I was working through personal stuff, but it was never only personal. I felt very much connected with all of us. And I wrote many times over the last few years. Well, it's not that many times, but I think there are about 20 pieces here. So about 20 times, in fact. And at a certain point, with things that are going on in the world, I just felt like I have to share this. I wasn't very keen to share it because it feels very internal in one way. And I haven't written like that in public before, but it felt really important to share it because I think it's relevant. The collective shadow, the darkness that we all hold inside ourselves and that we can be very afraid of and turn away from, that is also in our public life, in our collective experience. If we keep turning away from it, all we do fundamentally is grow it. And it felt really important for me to change direction and start to turn towards it. And what happened then is that I found myself, I suppose, going deeper and deeper. It's like I started to find all of these aspects, often caused by external circumstances, like stuff going on in the world that I couldn't understand or I couldn't bear to see, or that I just felt so pained by in a way. And then always finding that what was happening out in the world is happening inside me, and what's happening inside me is happening out in the world. Finding continually this kind of mirroring and shadowing, and this collective and personal resonance. And so I feel it touches each one of us. And some of you might find yourselves in the writing. It might connect with stories of your own life. Some of you may have the same frustrations and questions about life and how it is, and how do we navigate these very challenging times. Some of you may feel like, oh, I don't really connect with this, and that's fine. I just know that it's one of those books where for some people it tells a story that they were looking for inside themselves, and it enables them to find their own story. Because in the end, it's not about me. It's for each person, it's really about you and what you find inside yourself. So that's been my main experience, I suppose, of writing. The other thing I'll say is that I wrote it all in very short lines. I wouldn't call it poetry, because I think poetry is supposed to have a meter. There are all kinds of things about poetry, but the lines are short, and so it came out different from normal narrative writing. And I know that was very deliberate. And when you read it, it feels like you need to take time. It's quite intense. There's a lot packed into short lines. And so it's not a book that's easy, I think, to just read from beginning to end. It's more, you take a little piece at a time. That's what I've needed to do when reading it myself. Just take a little piece at a time and really allow myself to feel it and to sense it and to integrate it, because it's really more than anything about integration of the parts of ourselves that we usually want to get rid of or wish didn't exist. So I'm going to read you a piece which I think that probably we can all relate to in some way. It's called The Dream Killers. The title is very obvious what it's about. And yeah, let's just see. Hold on, I have to find the right page. Yeah. Who are you? You who dare to kill the dreams of children and young people. You who crush the aspirations that we hold deep inside our hearts. You who breed hopelessness and despair in the places where joy should have its natural place. Who are you? How do you get your grip inside the recesses of our minds, instilling thoughts that kill dreams? I know you so well, like a familiar, an intangible spirit that accompanies me everywhere. Invisible, subversive, elusive, but so powerful. You had me in your grip because I couldn't name you. Your devastating effects have ripped apart so many possibilities, so many deeply held desires, so many dreams. You made them feel wrong, as if they should be hidden away, so nobody could see the truth that lies within me in case it upsets someone else. You made me shrink away from my own essence, torn between the longing to be me and the requirement to be someone else. Yes, the dreams are naive. They are beautiful. They are easily put down, sneered at, derided, and killed in an instant of self-doubt or self-annihilation. They are buried inside the ache of a vision, appearing and disappearing into the expectations of a society that has been told over and over again to hide the very beauty that is its heartbeat, its life force, its essence. How can we listen to your voice for so long? How can we be so effective in suppressing ourselves? How can we believe it right to shipwreck our own dreams and disappear them into the darkness? My heart aches for the lost lives, the people who never really lived because of you, the dream killers. My own dreams ripped apart so often, torn into shreds of dancing light, the fragments of a longing for a life that is joyful, beautiful, drawing me towards it inexorably, and yet broken into shards that cut me with the pain of lost opportunity. It is unbearable to see what we do to ourselves under the gentle, caring guidance of our parents, teachers, and those who claim to protect and love us. They don't mean to do harm when they advise us so clearly to hide away the parts of us that long to be seen and to shine in the full glory of their clumsy beauty. Because dreams are rough around the edges. They don't fit very well in a society that is obsessed with external signals of wealth and fame and fitting in. Dreams draw us forward into a world we don't know, a place where we cannot be certain of anything. Dreams call us into creation, into a space where the rules fall apart and the systems that claim to hold us together crack and bend and beg to be broken. Dreams speak to possibilities outside our imagination. They beckon us deep into the unknown and unknowable, the wilderness inside our own hearts that dares to express itself, singing the song of a life that comes towards us in bits and pieces, revealing itself over time as we step into it, abandoning our preoccupation with being normal and appearing to blend into an amorphous society that has been stolen by the dream killers. I don't know who you are. Maybe a part of me that I built over many years, simply so I could experience this moment when I catch you in the act of trying once again to stop me in my tracks and give up on what is dear to me. Maybe you have become an expression of the collective web of suppression of the human soul, colluding with us as individuals to forget and abandon our deepest desires for a life of magnificence. Maybe you've organized systems like a matrix of control that is holding us underwater, fighting to breathe and survive so we have no time for dreams. I don't know who you are, but I recognize your footprint. I can see where you're busy, burying the bubbling up of my own dreaming as it weaves with the dreams of life coming into being. I know the feeling of life being shifted inside me as I struggle to fit in, be myself, do the right thing, be successful, be free, and so on and so on and so on. So many things I appear to need to be. I know I'm exhausted with that. I'm done. I'm no longer willing to fight so hard against myself in an abortive attempt to kill my own dreams. I can't say that I know anything more than that. I don't have ready answers for how to live instead. The tenderness of not knowing holds the sweet quality of touching something so alive inside me that I intend to give it the space to breathe and grow and flourish. I cannot control it, and I cannot be sure that anyone else will approve of it, but I can nurture it by leaving it to be itself. I can get to know it as it gets to know me. As we become acquainted with one another, we strengthen each other, and a pathway emerges where dreams can come forward and make their way into reality. They will not meet the dream killers on this pathway. They are busy elsewhere, slaying the fantasies of those who still give them power. And when they've had enough, they too will reclaim themselves and walk into their own lives, not knowing, but breathing. So I'm not actually sure that I really want to say much about it. I have notes of things that I'm supposed to say now, but I don't want to say them. I think what I would like to do, there are 3 people here who I have asked to just speak a little bit in a personal way. I haven't told them what I want them to say, but they are 3 people who are very close to 3 different spheres of my life. And I just thought they would give us some kind of perspective from a different angle. So I'm going to invite Nico, first of all, to speak. Nico, for those of you who don't know him, is my husband. Obviously, he shares that very personal aspect of my life. He's the person who's there when I have been awake in the middle of the night, unable to sleep, processing stuff, and dealing with the kinds of things that I was writing about even in that particular piece. So at dinner this evening, which was only an hour ago, Nico was also like, I could feel him in that, the dream killer's like, what am I supposed to say, Sarah? It's like, no, you just speak. Whatever you want to say, you speak, because that's our freedom, is that we don't have to get it right. So Nico, it's your turn.
Okay. Here. Sarah making trouble for me. She just pushed me in, and now I need to find words, what to say. I have no idea. And that's life. It's unpredictable, and it is interesting and challenging. And she is a person who loves challenges, problems. Not that she coined them, but they are coming, and she's definitely good in solving problems. Yeah. So, yeah, we have our own lives that we are sharing, inevitably spending time with Sarah. She don't have time for herself. She's on mission. She always looking to find solution to make life better, to solve whatever is in the way that is in our life, in her business, in her clients. She don't have time for herself. She's always in working more than it.
Nico.
And yeah, I wish sometimes man leave the world. Let's take time for ourselves and to have more time just for us. But yeah, she's good in finding time as well. I mean, I'm impressed how she's managing time, doing so many things in the same time, and finding time for reading, cooking, walking, for me, for everyone else. And it is impressive in a way. So I don't know what honestly say. Yeah, I just feel her mission is really to make better life for humanity, for society, for all of us, and making systems that are functional, that value human being first of all, and that's something that is really special about her. Yeah, relationships with people. That's I believe her the strongest point, that she managed all relationship keep in good quality exchange. And yeah, she is not a person who will talk just like small things. She's always going into essence and potential that she can see in everyone, and how to increase that, how to make better life. Yeah, I don't know.
And I have one question for you, because you are, whenever I write something, I come and read it to you. That's the first thing I do normally.
That's true. And yeah, I'm her, I guess, the toughest critic. Or, I mean, I don't know. I'm first one who is open to see her work, and I really enjoy all what she's writing is very powerful, I would say, and her transformances. I don't know. I wish I have that kind of connection, that I can just pick as she can, just with no preparation. She's just in instantly. So I think that's all for now that I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I'm going to go to Catalina. Catalina works very closely. She's worked alongside me for quite a few years now. So in the business that most people here know me for, in my coaching and teaching business, Catalina is the person who is always there, sometimes 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 9 o'clock at night, sometimes at the weekend. We try not to do too much of that, but we're pretty good. I think we manage very well in our business. But I thought I would invite Catalina to just say whatever you want to say, Catalina.
Hello, everyone. For any of those who haven't seen me, but might have recognized the person behind the email, if you have ever asked for support. Like Nicole, this is not necessarily wrong. And if there's something that I've learned through the years of working and being part of Sarah's environment, is that through the discomfort, is that I actually get to know the parts of me that remain hidden. Those are the moments, the challenges, the fears, the ones that hold something so beautiful and yet is so deep. that is not visible at the first glance, that is start to show when the courage of exploring that discomfort and through the exploration of a time, you get to realize that there's you, a beautiful, hidden, sometimes dark part of you that fuels you, that has always been there, perhaps like a seed buried behind the rock beds, waiting for the right moment with this sprinkle of a drop of water to sprout. Being part of here, of this moment with you, of this year with you, who's been here longer, or even if it's just shorter time, it's been perhaps the strangest, most fun, uncomfortable way to exploring life. And I assure you that perhaps the person, the me of 10 years ago, definitely 20 years ago, would never thought that the discomfort of life would be either something beautiful or fun. And if there's something that I appreciate for being able to be part of even life itself now, is the interaction and the learnings and the teachings and the teachers that I found not only in the screen, but on the other side of an email, on the other side of a question, or on the other side of a page. And the only thing I can say now is life has never been more beautiful and uncomfortable. I guess that we never really know what's hidden in the depth until we explore. I think that's it. That's all.
Thank you, Catalina. That's a living representation of the essence of this book that we're launching now. The way you speak, the way, yes, I've seen that capacity for depth and for not hiding from your own life. Just watching that grow has been the most amazing and beautiful thing. Thank you. And the third person who I've invited to speak is the person who is probably the closest to me in the other business that I have. We've had many, many long conversations. We've been through some difficult situations together. And that is Pam.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. So, for those who don't know me, I have been learning. Oh, I'm getting emotional. This is very unusual. Ooh. I've been learning with and from Sarah since probably 2022, let's say 3 years. And the other, so partly as a client and partly as a co-worker in this other business. The other business, I suppose I've been more deeply involved in for maybe a little over a year. Let me settle into myself here. So I want to speak a bit about reading through this book, Sarah, because it touched me very deeply, which was unexpected in a way. Every single one of your poetic essays brought me great insight into different aspects of what I have lived through or what I have observed others living through. And that's what really surprised me. For example, I don't really want to go into detail, but for example, the topics on the war and the fighting and all that heavy aggressive energy stuff. Although I've never been directly involved, I of course have previous generations in my family who have been directly involved. And it gave me huge insight into perhaps what was going on with the energies of the time. With the energies of the time, the energies that still persist, and are running right through me right now. Observing from this distance what perhaps was happening, probably was happening, who am I to say? Just observing and some slight understanding and recognition of part of it actually being in me too, held down very strongly because it's not allowed. Just even knowing that that exists, that is a thing, that is a thing for every one of us, is very enlightening and helps me in my daily navigation of life. And that is the case for every one of the essays, from the heavier, darker startings through to the lighter is the word that's coming to me, and I guess that's what it is, through to the lighter endings. And I recognized a great relief when I was reading Freedom, the last one. I was very pleased, and this is the good girl inside of me. I was very pleased when I could say tick, tick, tick to a few of those lines. That's all to say about the book, that it is one I will dip into. I absolutely will dip into again and again and again. I know it. I know that it will help me navigate what's going on for me or for somebody else. I believe it is also a book I would like to gift to other people because I think it would help them also navigate. That's not all I want to say. It's the main part of what I want to say, but there is a little more if you can give a little more time.
Yeah.
Okay. So trust is a word that has been coming up quite a bit for me recently. Not only recently, but recently. We are living in strange times for us current humans who have not lived through world wars, etc. We are living through strange times, and I truly believe that our best way to navigate these strange, oh blimey, here it comes again. Ooh.
This is, I have to say, from a typically not very emotional person in Pam.
Yeah, this is very, very unusual for me.
Yeah. Strange times.
Strange times, yes. I believe that the easiest way, if not the best way, for us to navigate through these times is through small circles, smallish circles of interconnected people who listen and support and offer trust and open ears and open hearts to what it is that others need to say, want to say, have to say. We must open our hearts to each other. We must open ourselves to each other, to allow ourselves to speak that which is within us and wants to come out. And these circles, these interconnected circles are the places where we can feel that we can do that. Otherwise, my experience, my personal experience has been that I keep it within myself, I bury it very deep. Who knows what it becomes? Perhaps disease, perhaps aggression, perhaps something else. The way to deal with it, I feel, I am learning, is to express it, allow it out in a trusted circle where others hold space and open hearts for us. There's a little line I want to read here. It was from a serendipitous email that came this morning. When you feel the trust emerge, let yourself dive below the surface and move into the unknown together. Move at the speed of trust. I think I'm done.
Thank you, Pam. It's very interesting, you know, the first section of the book is about war, and I also haven't experienced war. But I remember clearly writing one of those pieces, and it was like I was in the middle of the Second World War. I knew that experience inside my energy field or in my being in some way that I had never experienced. That was one of those very profound moments of connection from the wars that we all experience within ourselves. We all know war inside ourselves. We all fight inside ourselves. We all fight with other people to some extent. We all know those dynamics, every single aspect of it. And we all know the dynamics that are going on in the world as well. And it was such an extraordinary moment to realize that I knew that experience, although I had never experienced it in some way. And I feel like what you're speaking about, Pam, as well, somehow, and I felt that in sharing this writing with you, it is a way of saying, this is me. It's not really about me, but it's a way of saying, let's be open with each other and let's actually really deal with the stuff that otherwise causes wars, literally. Let's actually face that stuff that we don't really want to, that makes us erupt in anger and aggression and hatred and all those other things. Let's find a better way to ultimately, I suppose, we're really composting it. We're turning it into something healthy and valuable rather than something that destroys us from the inside. That's not an easy journey, and anyone who reads the book, you'll see that it's very iterative. You know, I go through something and find peace, and then the next one I'm back in the darkness again and have to find peace. Sometimes I find peace in the middle, and then it's like there's another wave of. That's real human life. That's really what it's like when we're dealing with very challenging situations, either in our own lives or in our collective lives. It doesn't all just follow the nice pattern of, okay, so now we release this and we do this and then everything's okay. The real journey, the waves that come and go and come and go, and the ups and downs, and just when you think it's all over, then it starts again, and when it feels like there's absolutely no hope whatsoever, and then somehow everything's all right. These are all part of that journey, and that's what I wanted to share. I wanted to make it like, just show you that when you think you're going crazy because everything that you believed in feels like it's falling apart, all the institutions that we used to trust when we grew up, now just being revealed in every direction to be corrupt and what's the word I want to say, manipulative and taken over by forces that are not apparently on the side of humanity. When we see those things, it's so incomprehensible in a way. It so does not make sense to the ordinary human view and our natural human values. Like, we all somehow know that we can kind of get on with each other. We don't have to be like this. And yet we also know that we can cause little wars and behave badly inside ourselves, towards each other when we're under pressure. You know, it's fine when everything's going well and I'm relaxed and I'm happy and I can make peace and I can experience joy. But how do I do that when I'm feeling emotional, or when I'm feeling attacked, or when I'm feeling abandoned, or when the world feels like it's just completely lost its mind? And I have no idea how I can even navigate my own life in that, let alone, you know, connect with other people. And yet that's what we need to do. We have to dig deeper, I think, than we ever have before. And we have the access to more depth than we've ever had before. So we can actually do this now. I'm not sure that 20 years ago, it was anything like as accessible as it is now to find this rich, deep, dark place inside us that we have mostly avoided for our entire life, and reveal the beauty and the light and the power that is liberated when we actually allow it to be seen. That is what I'm sharing with you. And I know that that changes everything. I know that when we speak so much with integrity to ourselves, and with deep knowing, it doesn't matter who it is, and it doesn't matter what circumstance, it doesn't need to be written, but when we do that, it's not just that it touches everything, everything's always touching everything, but that ripple, or that direct kind of touching of truth, that changes the quality of human life on this planet. And every single one of us who contributes to that is making a difference immediately in that moment, when we speak, when we share, when we reveal, when we search for what's true, when we speak to the essence of something, rather than all the stuff around that is hazy and unhelpful and not usually even contributing to anything much that's valuable. And so we start to uncover the real value of being alive as a human being. And of course, from that place, Nico says, I work all the time. I don't work all the time. As he later said, I actually have quite a lot of time for him and me, and, you know, the simple things we like doing, like going for a walk or going for a swim on the beach or whatever. But inevitably, we want to share, we want to contribute. Why would you want to do anything else? It's like, that's the most expansive and elevating thing we can do as a human being. It calls our soul forward, and it's such a beautiful experience to do that. So that, for me, somehow is what this is all about. I'd like to read one more piece, and then if you have questions, or we just want to talk a little bit, I'm happy to go over the time. We can just maybe hang out a little bit together if you want to, and see what comes of that. So I'd like to read the piece that Pam referred to, which is called This is Freedom, which is very near the end of the book. This is, you know, the first half of the book is, when I first wrote it, it was heavy going. Like, I used to read it over and over again because it meant so much to me. It touched me so deeply somehow to read what I'd written. And at the same time, at times it felt relentless and intense and unbearable. And in the second half, we actually do arrive in a different place. Like, it does work its way little by little to a very different experience of life. And so this was one day I just sat down and I wrote, this is freedom. This is freedom, so different from my imagination. No desire to escape from my own life. No need to be someone other than myself. No pressure to perform or achieve a specific goal. No questions about why I am here. because I know who I am in the great mystery of life. I am content with being curious about what happens next. I have faced my own demons and will face many more. I am embedded in life, experiencing myself. This is freedom on the ground, standing on my own 2 feet, facing firmly forwards towards the future. My life is an act of creation, weaving multi-dimensional storylines into the tapestry of the cosmos with my own minuscule part in colorful threads. Adventuring with purpose because it delights me to be that person who is on a mission to make life better. No reason is required for me to step forward in this direction that only I can know from deep within my being. Life draws me into more and more of itself, reveling in the novelty of every moment because I have never tried it before. It surprises me constantly. It takes my breath away to perceive the beauty of the interwoven threads of our deep reality. I am in awe at the linking of every part to every other part of the streams of life as they pour across the universe, making life happen. I'm intrigued by my own little story that is connecting with your story right now, changing us both forever. This is the freedom of creation, the true nature of life as a human being. It stirs every part of me into movement because I can barely wait to see what happens next. Like a small girl waiting for a much-loved visitor to arrive, knowing she is on her way, but not sure when she will arrive. The anticipation is as delicious as the presence of the current moment as it rolls out of the past. Ever evolving in its mysterious beauty, touching each one of us with the brilliance of our existence. So, I open the microphone to anybody who wants to share something, respond to something, ask something, whatever you want. You can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself and just speak if you would like to. Thank you, Beck. Beck says, thank you for capturing the words so beautifully for what many of us experience but feel alone in. Exactly. That's absolutely the point. That's why, you know, when Pam spoke about small groups and I overcame my resistance to publishing this. Thank you, Inika. Touch, these could have been my words. That's what I hope. I don't want to speak for other people, but sometimes it helps to know that those words that sound like they're thoughts you shouldn't think are actually thinkable, and to know that however terrifying it can be at times, it's still safe. As Catalina talked about the beauty of discomfort, there's also a safety in the terror that can come up at times in this kind of world. Francis.
I'm absolutely terrified at the thought of speaking, and I haven't got my video on because that would be too much. I'd just like to share that when I read the chapters of your book the other day, I had spoken to my husband the night before and virtually said those words. Not those words, but
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It was like that the war is in us, that because he watches me struggle day in, day out, and not sleeping at night and working really hard to just keep myself going. And it was so bizarre reading that and seeing it in words, because I found it very difficult to articulate myself. I had a moment of clarity because I'd laid still for quite a few hours the day before, just to calm my mind and connect with myself, and was able to verbalize a bit, but nowhere near as eloquently as you wrote it. But basically saying that I believe that I'm just very sensitive, and I can feel what's going on in the world, and I'm processing it through myself in a very small way in my little part of the world. And I've been doing that for years and really struggling to feel joy, but there's a little glimmer of hope that's always there. And I keep like you say, you think you've processed something, and then it comes back and there's another round and another round. It's like, will I ever feel joy? I don't even know what it feels like, but I hope I see it. I see it in other people, and that gives me hope when I see it in other people. And I've come into this from a very physical perspective, a very grounded, if you like, but I'm not grounded, but people see me as grounded. But I'm really working on being grounded in my energy. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I cleaned up my body, and, I've been really supporting my body. And now I feel like, because I've got my body to quite a strong place, I can do all the energetic work.
Yep.
And I found that people would let go to me in the way that you say that that's what we need or the lady before, sorry, I've forgotten her name, was saying that we need small circles. I thought, gosh, that's what I've craved, somewhere to feel really safe, to share what I feel so deeply. But because I couldn't find it, and I've cleared so much around myself that people feel safe sharing, quite deeply their pain. And then I thought, I've got to kind of shield myself until I can work out how to feel my own. Because I've been feeling it physically, but now I'm feeling it. Well, no, I've been feeling it physically and emotionally, but I've gone to places that I would, But anyway, I'm getting out of that now. And
I can understand. I can understand that. It might really be an interesting experience for you to read the book again. It's not to put your words into your mind, but
no.
I think that it shows a way, like in a way, it shows the path to joy, to where that comes out from all of this. I really believe at times that it's just important to carve these little paths through the forest, because it makes it a bit easier for somebody else to go through. They're always going to have their own journey, but
yes, that's right. Yeah,
it's easier. So sometimes I feel like that's just an important thing to do. And I'd be very interested to hear how it resonates for you, because I think you're clearly very sensitive, and this thing about being sensitive in a very insensitive world, and knowing that consciousness and the possibility of what we could be is so important. And it's so important that we don't give up on that we do find the way to strengthen into it.
I think the group thing is really important, because I've recently been working with a somatic experiencing therapist, and I found safety with her, and she really sat with me with it for the first time. I've had somebody sit with me in the pain, and the feeling I got afterwards was just, this is what it feels like. I felt relaxed for the first time. I felt a peace inside for a moment, and she got me to dwell in that peace. She said, stay there, just feel it. And it was, so if you could get that in small groups where people felt really safe to be not moaning or complaining, but really empowered in in their pain and help to move through it would be so amazing.
Yeah, we do a lot of that in this community. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right, I'm going to go to Sihong Kim. Thank you very much for all you do. I feel so much freedom now. Struggling to understand integration. Could I explain more about the integration? Yeah, integration. You know, in a lot of spiritual teaching and personal development, and in the early stages, this is important, we learn how to let go of things. But there comes a time, and I've seen this in myself and in many other people, where we're trying to let go of parts of ourselves. And actually, the more we try to let go of them or get rid of them, the more they stick and the stronger they become. When you integrate those parts of yourself, so you integrate the darkness of yourself, so you accept it, you let it find its own natural place in your own being, actually that is creates a circulation of power within your being. It enables your energy to circulate. So if you're all love and light and no dark and whatever else, you actually become really powerless in the end. And I've seen that. I've seen people go a long way down that way and become weaker and weaker and weaker. When you integrate the dark and the deep and the heavy along with the light and the beautiful and all of those other things, when you integrate all of that, it's like you have the full range of colors of human life, and you're not afraid then anymore. There's one piece in there which is the darkest, most difficult piece in the whole book. And there's one place where I say, I'm not afraid of burning. I'm not afraid of dying. Because once you integrate that part into yourself, you're not afraid. It's like, you know, all of this inside yourself. If you try to get rid of it, it gets stronger, but it gets stronger in the form that you're trying to get rid of. So all that you do is you increase suffering. When you integrate this circulation, it's like the positive and negative polarities of electricity. You get a circulation of power. And that's why integration is so important. It's not for the first days when you're first learning. I teach everybody how to let go of stuff because it's a really important skill, but it's not everything and it won't take you all the way. Okay. I saw something else here. Oh, that's from Evelyn. Thank you. Just nice words. Okay, thank you. Nice words. Thank you. Yes, well, I think that we are just about perfectly on time. Thank you very much for coming here and sharing this experience with me. Thank you very much, Nico and Pam and Catalina, for speaking. The book is available in usual places, Amazon and other platforms. It's not everywhere yet, and the audiobook will be out, I think, in a couple of weeks. I uploaded it today, so it'll be a couple of weeks before it comes out. So it's there. And I'd love to hear your experience of it. If you want to share anything, you're always welcome to send me an email. And I hope that it will, as I said, just help to create that sense that it's okay. It's okay to be here. It's okay to look at the things that you may not have looked at before. And it's okay to actually stop in the face of all the collective chaos and look at it deeply and recognize it inside yourself and know it, know the essence of it, know the light in it. Actually, in the darkest places on this planet, we can know the light, and that frees us to be ourselves. That's the gift, and that's the greatest gift of all. So that's what we're about. Thank you, and see you soon. Okay, goodbye then.